Okay, we are now live on YouTube. Mr. Arroyo, can you hear and understand the interpreter?
Señor Arroyo, ¿puede usted escuchar y entender a la intérprete?
Sí, sí.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Arroyo, sir, you're charged in warrant number 2022 WA 09501 with committing the offense of criminal trespass.
Señor Arroyo, a usted se le acusa en la orden de arresto 2022 WA 09501 con el delito de invasión o daños a la propiedad.
I've set the bond at $3,000 for that offense.
Y yo le fijé la fianza a $3,000 por ese delito.
You're charged in warrant number 2022 WA 09502 with committing the offense of stalking.
Y se le acusa en la orden de arresto 2022 WA 09502 del delito de persecución ilícita.
I've set the bond at $5,000 for that offense.
Y por ese delito le fijé su fianza a $5,000.
Okay.
There's going to be a stay away provision on your bond to stay away from a Tanya Jimenez. Do you understand that?
Y va a haber una orden de alejamiento en su fianza que dice que tiene que mantenerse completamente alejado de Tania Jiménez. ¿Entiende usted esto?
Sí, entiendo, pero
Yes, I understand.
If you violate this stay away provision, you could be charged with a felony offense and be placed in jail with no bond.
Si usted incumple, o sea, si usted no cumple con su orden de alejamiento, a usted le podrían poner cargos por delitos graves y tendría que permanecer en la cárcel sin fianza.
sí, está bien, lo acepto.
Yes, that's fine. I'll take it.
I've set a preliminary hearing date for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning.
Yo le fijé su audiencia preliminar para el día 28 de junio a las 8:30 de la mañana.
¿Cómo dijo?
What did you say?
I've set a preliminary hearing date for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning.
Yo le programé su audiencia preliminar para el día 28 de junio a las 8:30 de la mañana.
¿O ese día voy a salir o cómo?
That day I'm going to be released, or how is that?
No, sir.
No, señor.
That is a date that has been set in the future in case you are not able to post bond.
Esta es una audiencia que se está programando en el futuro en caso de que usted no pueda pagar su fianza.
Ok, está bien.
If you post bond today, you can be released today.
Y si usted paga su fianza en el día de hoy, a usted lo podrían en libertad en el día de hoy.
Libre día de hoy, todos los 5 y los 3,000.
So today the 5 and the 3,000?
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
The June 28th date will be waived upon your bonding out and you'll receive a new court date in the mail.
La audiencia del día 28 de junio se cancela tan pronto usted pague su fianza y salga, y usted recibiría un nuevo citatorio por correo.
Ok. Y si en caso de que no pueda pagar,
And in case that I'm not able to pay,
Yes, sir.
I guess, Judge, that was the question. What about in case that I can pay?
Then he will be released. Okay, I'm not understanding the question.
Your Honor, it seems like his question is, what about in case that he cannot pay his bond?
Then he will have that June 28th preliminary hearing date.
Entonces usted tendría la audiencia el día 28 de junio. La audiencia preliminar.
ok.
Okay.
Y
Mr. Arroyo, you're entitled to a lawyer. Would you like for me to appoint you a lawyer, or you plan on hiring your own lawyer?
Señora Arroyo, usted tiene el derecho de tener un abogado. ¿Usted
Sí.
quiere que yo le nombre un abogado o usted está planeando contratar su propio abogado?
yo pienso que es que no sé, tal vez pueda hacer eso o tal vez no. yo no me he comunicado con mis familiares últimamente, entonces no sé si pueden pagar eso o tal vez no.
The thing is that I have not been able to get in touch with my family lately. So I don't know if they're going to be able to pay this or not.
I'm going to ask the question one more time, and it's a yes or no answer. Do you want me to appoint you a lawyer or not?
Le voy a hacer la pregunta una vez más. Y es una pregunta de sí o no. ¿Quiere usted que yo le nombre un abogado? ¿Sí o no?
Sí, por favor.
Yes, please.
Are you currently working, Mr. Arroyo?
Actualmente, ¿está usted trabajando, señor Arroyo?
Sí.
Yes.
About how much do you make per hour?
Más o menos, ¿cuánto gana usted por hora?
Como 18.
About 18.
You do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Usted,
Now, go ahead, I'm
usted
sorry.
sí califica y yo le voy a nombrar un abogado para que lo represente.
Now, I'm going to advise you of certain rights that you have, okay?
Ahora yo le voy a decir cuáles son los derechos que usted tiene. ¿Está bien?
¿Está bien?
That's fine.
During this and all other proceedings, you have the right to the presumption of innocence.
Durante este y todos los procesos siguientes, usted tiene el derecho a la presunción de inocencia,
To indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors.
a que se le formule una acusación mediante el jurado indagatorio para la mayoría de los delitos graves o que se le formule una acusación para los delitos menores.
And you're charged with misdemeanors in this instance.
Y en este caso, a usted se le acusa de delitos menores.
You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury.
Usted tiene el derecho de tener un juicio público rápido y por jurado.
You have the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you.
Usted tiene el derecho de ver, escuchar y contrainterrogar a los testigos que sean citados a testificar en su contra.
You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf.
Usted tiene el derecho de exigir a los testigos para que testifiquen a su favor.
You have the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense.
Usted tiene el derecho de testificar y de presentar pruebas para ser usadas en su defensa.
You have the right to an attorney to represent you, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Usted tiene el derecho de tener un abogado para que lo represente y si usted no puede contratarse su propio abogado, se le podría nombrar uno si usted califica.
¿Está bien?
And in this case, I have appointed a lawyer to represent you.
Y en este caso, yo le he nombrado un abogado para que lo represente.
Okay.
If you and your family decide to hire your own lawyer, just tell the appointed lawyer that you've hired your own lawyer, and then you can go with whomever you choose.
Si usted y su familia deciden contratarse su propio abogado, solamente dígale al abogado que usted tiene y usted y su familia pueden ir con el abogado que usted elija.
Okay. No tengo ningún abogado.
No, I don't have an attorney.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Arroyo?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta para mí, señor Arroyo?
Sí, si pago los $8,000, ¿ya puedo salir libre o?
Yes, if I pay the $8,000, can I be released and go free?
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
¿Y el caso se queda cerrado o todavía sigue el caso abierto?
And the case will close or the case will continue to be open?
The case will continue to be open. It will move to the next step, which is the State Court of Clayton County.
El caso continuaría abierto
Ajá.
y pasaría al próximo paso, el cual sería enviarlo al Tribunal Estatal del Condado de Clayton.
Okay.
Any other questions?
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Sí, pero ¿cómo puedo comunicarme con mis familiares para que paguen eso o tratemos de pagarlo?
How can I get in touch with my family so they can pay that or we can try to pay it?
After this proceeding, you will be allowed to use a phone. However, that will be at the direction of the Clayton County Sheriff's Department.
Después de esta audiencia, usted va a poder usar el teléfono. Sin embargo, esto va a ser siguiendo las instrucciones de la cárcel del condado de Clayton.
Sí, lo sé.
Yes, I know.
Okay, sir. If you don't have any other questions, you're free to go back.
Ok, señor, si no tiene ninguna otra pregunta, puede retirarse.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Ok, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, for both the male and female side, do we need anybody else for Ms. Bermudez services? Does anyone need an interpreter?
We don't need on the female side, Your Honor.
Okay, and none on the male side.
That's correct, Your Honor. None on the male side.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bermudez, you can be excused. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. You do as well.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Bye, Mary.
Oh, okay, so let's start the regular course. So can we have both people on camera? Okay, good morning, everyone. This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. My name is Brad Gardner, and I'm a judge in this court. I'm here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bail on those offenses that I'm authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing. But should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you. So please don't discuss the facts of your case. During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights: to the presumption of innocence, to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, to a speedy and public trial by jury, to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, and to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds, that's tough for me to say, for your release from jail. These bonds may be posted by cash, commercial, or property. Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places. You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail. If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you can remain in jail until your trial. You could also receive additional felony charges. It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and you will be informed of that date. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time. Where the bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you. The standard at this stage is very low. A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred. Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing. However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived. You'll receive notice at the address you give of your next court date. Finally, would everyone please raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm any statements you make during this proceeding shall be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Okay, let's begin on the ladies' side with Miss Beach. Miss Beach, ma'am, you've been charged with 1 count of family violence battery and 1 count of disorderly house. I've set a $5,000 bond on the family violence battery charge, and I've set a $1,000 bond on a disorderly house charge. There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond, to stay away from a Tyra Lewis and a Tyron Lewis. Do you understand that? I'm sorry, ma'am.
You're not touching the TV, Dwayne. I stay in the household.
Okay. I do understand that. And Mr. Lewis is going to have a stay away provision to stay away from you. The basis of the disorderly house charge is that the police have been called to this house 1, 2, 3, 4 times this year because of incidents and disputes. So because it appears that the 3 of you can't live in the same house without getting into a fight, you're not going to be able to live in the same house. Okay? So I do understand that. I don't understand ownership of the house or anything like that. I'm not trying to break all of that stuff down, but it appears that because of all of these calls to the police to break up fights within a home with adults, y'all just can't live together. Okay? So do you understand the stay away provision with Tyra Lewis and Tyron Lewis? Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to find that you qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back, ma'am. Let's call up Miss Davis. Miss Davis, ma'am, you've been charged with unlawful removal of baggage from a cargo area, basically taking, ma'am, please, I'm going to let you speak, okay? Basically, the allegation is that you're at the airport and you took a bag that didn't belong to you. That's a misdemeanor offense. I'm setting the bond at $5,000. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I'm a lawyer, a judge, a doctor, a teacher. Also, I know the law. Did you know?
Okay, ma'am, I just placed you on mute. You're just talking to yourself. You're really just talking to yourself. So if you cannot comport yourself with court, you are going to be removed. All right, so she's going to represent herself. Let's bring up Miss Lewis. Are you Miss Tyra Lewis?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, but the way that the charge is written, it doesn't meet the elements of the offense, so I'm dismissing this charge. So when the jail receives this, you will be released. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's bring up Miss Brittany Smith.
I'm sorry, what was her name?
The last person?
Yes.
It was Tyra, Tyra Lewis.
Lewis.
Yes, and there is a Tyron Lewis on the male side.
And then when we get to the male side, we have an attorney who's trying to log on, okay?
Okay. Let's see. Are you Brittany Smith?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss Smith, you're charged with 1 count of running a red light and 1 count of driving on a suspended license. There's going to be a $500 bond set on the red light violation. There's going to be a $1,500 bond set on driving on a suspended license. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes,
I'm sorry, ma'am.
yes.
Okay. All right, it looks like you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, you're free to go back, ma'am. So the next person I have is Tonisha Smith, but it looks from the calendar that she was that she went to first appearance on June 1st. Are you Tonisha Smith?
Yes, sir.
Did you go to first appearance on June 1st?
I did. They had it on the phone.
Okay. So
I heard this, Mr. David, extra bit chapter.
okay, hold on 1 second, man. Okay, were you given a bond at that time, ma'am?
I was, they said I had a bond hearing on the 24th.
Much time is left on the timer. Is that right?
Okay, so you were denied bond.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like your next hearing is going to be the bond hearing date on the 24th, and you shouldn't have been brought here today. Okay, all right. You're free to go back. You're welcome. Okay, we have Tracy.
Coming up, Your Honor.
Is that
Your Honor, we're just gonna leave it on mute. As soon as we're done, I'll take Ms. Davis back.
okay? Okay, let's bring up on the male side, Mr. Ohome, Ohome. Yes, Miss Mary?
Judge, what about this woman here? Is this a
Oh.
fugitive?
Yes, these are both fugitives. This is
Okay.
Miss Tracy James.
Okay.
Okay. Miss James and Mr. Ohome, you're both charged with the same thing, with being what we call a fugitive from justice. And what that basically means is that there's a warrant for your arrest out of another state, and that we have a duty to contact that other state and ask them if they want to extradite you. And in both of your situations, they've said that they will. Now, I'm going to give you a general outline of how this thing works, and then I'm going to ask both of you some questions. So you both have a right to challenge this warrant or these warrants. And what that basically means is that you're saying you're either not the person named in the warrant, or you don't believe a warrant exists, or that if it exists, it does not lay out proper charges. If you were to make that request sometime between now and 90 days, there will be a hearing before a judge in the Magistrate Court of Clayton County to determine, one, if you are the person named in the warrant, and two, if the warrant lays out sufficient facts. If that's the case, then the judge will sign off on a writ that will allow, I'll get to you in a second, Mr. Dobson, that will allow you to be extradited. If the judge signs off on that warrant at the end of that hearing, the requesting jurisdiction, which in your case, Ms. James, is Jefferson County, Missouri. In your case, Mr. Ohome, is looks like it says Collin County Sheriff's Office on a probation violation. Then you will be, they will have 30 days to come and get you. That 30-day period can be extended once to up to 60 days. If they do not come and get you within the time period, you will be released out of the front door. However, if you're released out of the front door, it doesn't negate the warrant. The warrant is still valid. So if you walk out the front door, you encounter law enforcement within 5 minutes from walking out the front door, this process will start all over again. So for you, Ms. James, well, before I get to that, you also have the ability to waive that first hearing. And so if you believe you are the person named in the warrant, and if you believe that the warrant is valid, you can waive that 90-day period. And now the clock begins to run on a 30 up to 60-day period today. In any event, no matter how you choose to proceed, I would encourage each of you to get lawyers in the whatever jurisdiction it's in, so that those lawyers can help you, because there's nothing that we can do here as to your guilt or innocence. We're just holding you for the jurisdiction that is requesting you. I have seen, especially in this pandemic time, where if you have a lawyer and the lawyer is able to speak to the district attorney or prosecutor in that jurisdiction, depending on the charge, they may work something out and set a new court date with the understanding that you're going to appear. And so I've had situations where a person appeared before me on Wednesday, and by Friday, I was getting an order to release them because they had hired a lawyer, and the lawyer did what the lawyer is supposed to do. So, Ms. James, the allegation here is that you have a warrant out of Jefferson County, Missouri for possession of a controlled substance, and they've indicated that they will extradite. Do you understand what I've said so far, man?
Yes, sir. And so that means
Do you have any questions? And okay, do you wish to and just answer yes or no, because we're having the background noise. Do you wish to waive, yes or no?
yes.
Okay, so once you sign the waivers, they will send them over to me. I will sign them, and then that clock starts to run today. But I do encourage you to try to get a lawyer.
I have a lawyer. I just haven't been able to use the phone really yet. So
Okay.
To contact him.
Okay, so you will have an opportunity to use a phone
I
soon.
know.
I would contact the lawyer, let the lawyer know, because the lawyer may be able to work something out up there where you're released from here. And I don't know whether they're doing things by Zoom or not, but if they're doing it by Zoom, you may not even have to travel to Missouri. Okay, so sign the waivers, and then you'll be free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. O'Holm. Can we unmute Mr. O'Holm? Okay, Mr. O'Holm, sir, you're charged in this warrant with, looks like it says a probation violation from a fraud charge out of, and it's hard to read the handwriting. It looks like it's COLIN County Sheriff's Office. Have you heard and understood everything that I've said so far?
Can you explain that wave part? The wave?
Okay. So if you believe that you are the person named in the warrant, and if you believe that the warrant is valid, you can waive that initial hearing to determine whether you are the person named and whether it's valid. If you don't want to do that, you can have the hearing. We have no interest in whether you waive or not. If you waive, it generally speeds up the process. But that's a choice that you have to make based upon your own circumstances. I don't know, do you have a lawyer any other jurisdiction?
I have a lawyer?
Yes, sir. Do you have a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would contact that lawyer and have that lawyer kind of work on your behalf. do you have any other questions about anything that I've said?
Well, so what type of lawyer exactly would I need to do what you said when you said I could leave and show up at court?
Okay, it would be a criminal defense lawyer, same lawyer, type of lawyer that represented you, I'm presuming in the underlying charge.
All right.
And if you have questions, my sole job here is to answer your questions. So if you're not understanding what I'm saying, please ask questions.
Yes, sir.
So do you have questions? Do you know if you want to waive the hearing or do you want to have the hearing?
I want to waive it.
Okay. So they have paperwork there. Once you sign the paperwork, they're going to send it to me and I'll sign it, and that clock begins to run today. But the same way that I informed Ms. James, it's in your best interest to get a lawyer as quickly as possible, so that you may be able to, get yourself out of here and either walk into court when you're dealing with this or be able to appear by Zoom. Okay, sir?
Okay, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. Once he signs, he's free to go back. Mr. Dobson, who's your client?
Good morning, Your Honor. My client is Christopher Hurd.
Christopher Hurd. After Mr. O'Holmes signs the waiver, can we bring up Mr. Christopher Hurd?
Yes, sir. Does the 30 days start now?
It starts today. Yes, sir.
All right.
Sir, right here.
So, Mr. Dodson, I always go through this early in the morning. I set initial bond amounts.
Yes, sir.
But I always hear from the lawyer as it relates to the client or the circumstances of the case. So the initial bond amount in this case is $5,000 for the battery and $1,500 for the disorderly conduct. And there's going to be a stay away provision on the bond, stay away from an Andre White.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may be heard on that.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Mr. Hurd, you have taken advantage of the opportunity to hire a lawyer. So although I would normally speak to you, I'm going to speak to your lawyer here today. You have a right to say whatever you want to say, but it's generally not a good idea because nothing you say here is private or privileged. So I wouldn't say anything I wouldn't want the whole world to know. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Dobson, go ahead, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may just give you a little bit of quick background on Mr. Hurd, and also just give you a brief synopsis of the incident itself, because I think that's very, very important, particularly in light of the fact that he was charged with a domestic violence battery, I believe. However, this was from a car accident between two complete strangers. Have no idea why they labeled it as a domestic violence. He doesn't know this gentleman, had never seen him before the accident. That day. And we've been trying to get him to resolve that ever since, he turned himself in yesterday, but we've been trying to find out why they listed it as a domestic violence. Online, they actually initially listed it as a simple battery. Then it said something about school personnel, which is what accident was not at a school either. And then it was listed, my understanding is listed as domestic violence. He does not know this Mr. Andre White, I believe is his name. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I have the accident report here, Your Honor, and they are complete strangers. There is no familial or any other close relationship. And if I may, Your Honor, just Mr. Hurd is 47 years old. He has 3 children. He's married. One of his children is disabled with special needs. And in the accident, he and his entire family were in the car. The gentleman, Mr. White, made an improper left turn. He was cited at the accident for it and hit them. causing serious injury to Mr. Hurd as well as to his children. His children were bleeding at the time of the accident. He managed to get out of the car. He walked over to the other car to ask them if they were okay and ask them what was going on, what happened. When he tried to ask the gentleman that, the gentleman actually cursed him, and then at that point they're scuffling. That's how the whole contact came into play. But Your Honor, also please understand that Mr. Hurd has several disc herniations as a result of the accident. He actually suffered a traumatic head injury, a concussion at the time of the accident. When he got out of the car, he sees his kids bleeding. He's dizzy. He goes over to find out how the other people are doing. And then he's confronted in a very confrontational manner by Mr. White, a gentleman he's never seen and did not know. That's how all of that came about. They actually released him and allowed him to take himself to the doctor. Were you transported from the scene, Mr. Hurd?
By ambulance, yes.
He was transported from the scene by ambulance, and that is reflected on, looking at the accident report, that is reflected on the report. And then he was just told to turn himself back in. But as a result of the accident, he has several disc herniations. He's looking at back, neck surgery, and he has a closed head injury as well. He has no criminal history whatsoever. He does not know this gentleman. He's the sole breadwinner for his family. He, his wife, and his 3 children that were in the car with him at the time all suffered significant injuries, and all are currently seeking under medical care at this point in time. In light of all of this and his lack of a history, Your Honor, I would ask the court to strongly reconsider the bonds that were set for them. I would submit to the court that Mr. Hurd, as he doesn't even know this gentleman, and like I said, it was just a scuffle at the scene between the two of them, kind of like grabbing each other or something to that effect. In light of all of that, I would ask the court to consider a signature bond, because at this point in time, Mr. Hurd is not going to be able to work and support his family for months, and any cash bond is going to work a significant hardship on him. And be very candid with the court, I'm having to work with Mr. Hurd because of the circumstances to represent him. I feel like he needs representation, and I'm very sympathetic to his plight. While I'm not condoning violence or anything of that nature, under those circumstances, Judge, I would submit to the court that this barely rises to the level of a crime, if at all, of any sort of a criminal charge. And there was some debate about whether or not they were going to charge him with anything at the scene. Mr. Hurd has significant ties to the community. He's a member of Atlanta Christian Worship Center. I believe that's ran by Miss Lucinda Jolly. It used to be run by Bishop Ronnie L. James. He lives not far from the area. I believe down in Stockbridge. He's not a risk. He's not a flight risk. He's not a risk to commit other crimes. He has no criminal record. And also, Judge, I would also point out he's a long distance truck driver. He has to travel throughout the country driving this truck. So even these charges jeopardize his livelihood. And he's not going to be able to work for months because he's going to have back and neck surgery as a result of the accident.
Okay, Mr. Dobson, I've taken all of that into account. I'm going to set a $2,500 bond on simple battery and a $1,000 bond on disorderly conduct. I'm going to keep the stay away provision in place as it relates to Mr. White. Currently there's a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. However, that date will get waived upon his bonding out, and he'll receive a new court date in the mail. Do you have anything else for me, Mr. Dobson?
Your Honor, is the bond amount, is that something there's a program available for, or is that going to be just a cash bond?
Well, I mean, we call it cash, commercial, or property. There's no program available. So you can go through a bonding company, he can put up property, or he can pay cash. If he puts up property, the property has to have a value. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Your Honor. Well, thank you for your time and for the reduction.
Thank you. Mr. Hurd, you are free to go back. And Mr. Dobson, you can be excused, sir.
Your Honor, and if I may just advise Mr. Hurd, I will be contacting his wife immediately to let her know the results of the court. And with that being said, may I be excused?
Yes, sir.
All right, contact me, Mr. Hurd, as soon as you get out.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Let's
Have a
bring
good
up Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
You want me to, oh, there he goes.
You're next.
Mr. Anderson, sir, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery and 1 count of criminal trespass. I'm gonna set a $2,500 bond on the simple battery and a $3,000 bond on the criminal trespass. I'm also gonna place a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from a Cynthia Anderson. Do you understand that, sir?
I have a question for that, sir.
I'm gonna let you ask the questions at the end, and if I need to change anything, I will, I promise. But I have to get everything out. And so when I start and stop, I may forget something. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. That's gonna be in courtroom 201, most likely by Zoom, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. You, about how much you make per hour?
I haven't started the job yet, but
Okay.
I've just been placed on the work schedule. I just haven't started for any hours. He hasn't put me on the schedule for any hours yet.
Okay, I'm gonna find that you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, what was it you wanted to tell me?
My car title from the arresting officer from Marlwood Police Department still has my car title, and that was on my persons. She just never gave it back to me for my property.
It's in one of two places. It's either in property at Morrow or it's in property at the sheriff's department. If she didn't log it in at the sheriff's department, it's in property or in evidence or property at Morrow Police Station.
Would that be able to come back to me on my property here?
I'm sorry, sir.
Would that be able to be transferred back over here to my property?
No, most likely you will have to get it from the Morrow Police Department.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
I was just making sure my car title was where it was supposed to be.
Okay. You're free to go back, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Belk?
Brown.
Mr. Belk, sir, you're charged with 1 count of misdemeanor marijuana possession. The bond is set at $1,500. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Could you repeat that again? Qualify for what?
For the appointment of a lawyer.
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back. Mr. Kendall Brown. Mr. Brown, sir, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I'm going to set a bond at $15,000. There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from a Robert Brown and Tammy Brown. Do you understand that?
Sir.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 27th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201, because this is a felony offense. That date will be waived upon your bonding out and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, you're on the edge, but I'm going to find that you do qualify. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back. Mr. Charleston.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Charleston, sir, you're charged with 4 driving related offenses. One count is defective headlights. Bond is going to be set at $500. The second count is failure to change the address on your license. Bond is also going to be set at $500. The third count is open container violation. Bond is going to be set at $500. I'm sorry. And finally, driving a vehicle on a suspended license, bond is going to be set at $1,500. Because these are all misdemeanor offenses, your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. The date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, sir.
Okay. You're going to hire your own,
No,
or
sir.
you're going to represent yourself?
Represent myself.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
What was the total?
Let's see. $3,000.
Okay.
All right, you're free to go back, sir. Mr. Johnson.
Lewis. Control. Let's go, man.
He's coming up, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, sir, you're charged with 1 count of reckless conduct. That's a misdemeanor offense. Bond is going to be set at $1,500. You're charged with 1 count of simple battery on a police officer. That's also a misdemeanor offense. Bond is going to be set at $5,000. And finally, you're charged with criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree, which is a felony offense. Bond is going to be set at $5,000. Because you have this felony charge, your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 27th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
What? So you said what?
I'm sorry, sir.
You said appointment of what?
A lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Lewis? Mr. Lewis, sir, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. This is a misdemeanor offense. Bond is going to be set at $3,000. You're also charged with 1 count of disorderly house. Bond is going to be set at $1,000. There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from a Lysandra Beach. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I guess. I don't know, because it's in my home. I'm just standing in the doorway, so I'm a parent of 2 children, so
Okay. I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
And so I was just filling it out because he handed me. I put in the left hand column. Refusal.
Okay, so the answer to my question is no, correct?
No, sir. No, sir. Yes, no.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me? Or I cut you off, Mr. Lewis. Finish the statement that you were making.
I just can't stop him from calling you guys. Past 6 months, I've been there 5 years. So I don't know what to do. It's disorderly house, but she keeps calling because she's already been evicted. So she's been evicted. Judge Khalil, Ms. Hill signed it, and it started back in January, but I can't get out. So she's doing this to try to I don't know, because she's already been evicted, but they gotta come put her out. So I can't stop her from calling. You got every call on there was from her. She's never been touched, never been hit, never been bruised, but every call is, oh, help, help. And then when they get there, she turns it into talking. So she's never been touched, never been hurt ever. But she's called more than in my whole life. I'm 54, and she's only coming in December. So I don't get it. She keeps calling. I don't touch her. God knows I'm not trying to. I'm 6'6". My daughter's 6'2". We was only standing in the door, and she had a knife. So my daughter just got stabbed up. I didn't touch her. I just want to make sure she didn't hurt my child. So I don't know what to do. She can keep doing the same. She was here all night with the officers beating on the doors, beating on the windows, cursing them out. So she won't even behave in here. I don't know what to do. And you could ask the officers in the holding and intake, even the guys in here. She was attacking all night, banging on the doors, and screaming. And she does that in my home. And I have video of her stealing. I have video of her fighting me, but they don't do nothing. They say I need to get her out of my home because I should never let a stranger come in. True. But she needed a place. She only stayed 2 weeks, but I did the eviction process. I did the $75 and the $25. Judge Hill signed it, but she's just acting a fool in my home. I don't do nothing. That's why she do what she do. We're not trying to harm her, Your Honor. She walk past us every day. I work every day. We're not even trying to hurt her. But every so often she'll push something and run in the room. And that's wrong. I don't know what to do. But my daughter's been hurt. She's been stabbed up, and she had that knife on. My daughter's gonna hopefully, I'm trying to get her something at the police department because my daughter's scared that she may do something to her. And she's getting evicted, so that's why she's doing what she's doing. I don't know what else to do. I can't stop her from calling the police.
So is this house in your name? It's not a leasing situation, is it? Is this your house?
No, it's a lease purchase. It's a lease purchase, sir.
Okay.
I'm gonna purchase it at the end of this year. Hopefully, I've been there 5 years, and that was the agreement. After 5 years, and then he saves some off of my rent every month, and that'll go toward me buying the house at the end of the year.
Okay. So the stay away provision relates to a person, not a place. If this is your home, then she's going to be in a situation of not being able to stay there. Give me 1 second. Okay.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, she's been evicted. You just got a backlog of 3 months. We down to 2 months.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes, sir.
I'm painfully aware of our backlog.
Sorry about that.
No, okay. I'm going to remove the stay away provision as it relates to Miss Beach for you. So what that means is that you can go back to your home.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You're free to go.
What was the total on the bond? I'm sorry.
$4,000.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mr. Norris.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Norris, sir, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I'm going to set a bond at $3,000. There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away. Actually, bond's going to be set at $4,000. Based upon what they said, the allegation, they could have charged you with, I think, with arson, but we'll leave that neither here nor there. There's going to be a stay away provision on this $4,000 bond to stay away from Vicky Kennedy.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201, because this is a misdemeanor offense. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, Your Honor, I'll get my own.
Okay, do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're free to go back.
Thank you.
Mr. Oloyede.
Yes,
Sir, sir, you're charged with 2 driving related offenses. Not having or driving while unlicensed, the bond is going to be set at $1,000. And driving a vehicle with no tail lights, the bond is going to be set at $500. These are 2 misdemeanor offenses, so your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
yes, sir.
You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, sir, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Pritchett. Mr. Pritchett, sir, you're charged with 1 count of misdemeanor theft by taking. The bond is set at $2,000. There's going to be a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you receive a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do qualify, Mr. Pritchett. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, you're free to go back. Mr. Ross. Mr. Ross, so you're charged with 1 count of interference with custody. I'm going to set the bond at $2,500 for that offense, and 1 count of obstructing or hindering law enforcement. I'm going to set the bond at $2,500 for a total bond of $5,000. These are both misdemeanor offenses, so you're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, about the why the bond so high, because I mean what I was charged with don't fit what happened.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to let you talk about the facts.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just, only thing I want to say that I didn't even, I mean, all right, you're right, because it will be the facts.
Yes, sir. So the allegation of interference with child custody,
Yeah.
it brings a whole lot of stuff into play.
Yeah, I mean, like.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You asked me the
you're
reasoning.
right.
Okay. So and then when the police arrived, their allegation is that you didn't open the door for them.
Yeah, I didn't know they were at the door.
Okay. So.
And I didn't hear them.
Okay.
I told them I was in the bedroom.
Okay. So with the interference with custody, I'm not asking, hold on, I'm not asking you to comment on it. The presumption that I have is that there was an agreement that was put in place that everybody said they were going to follow the agreement. Okay. Well,
I didn't, what happened was I didn't know.
Don't do that.
Okay.
So I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Okay.
I see them today.
Probably not today, but I don't know. What I understand of how they're doing visitation now is that once they get noticed that they're representing you, they try to set up a call with you on like the little video thing.
Okay.
And then that's when they start gathering information and facts. So this bond amount is going to be probably about $700 through a bonding company. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna keep the interference with child custody at $2,500. I'm gonna reduce the obstruction down to $1,000. I know that's probably not what you want, but it's moving in the right direction. But speak to your lawyer about whatever took place and
Okay,
let your lawyer defend you, okay?
I will.
All right, you're free to go back. Mr. Stroud? Mr. Stroud, sir, you're charged with one count of running a red light. The bond is going to be set at $500 for that. And one count of driving on a suspended license. The bond is set by schedule, which means it's automatically set at $1,500. Because these are both misdemeanors, you're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back. Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir, I got a comment.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Williams, sir, you're charged with one count of aggravated assault. That's a felony offense. I've set the bond at $20,000. You're also charged with one count of cruelty to children in the third degree. I've set the bond at $5,000. There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond, a stay away from a Delzoria Williams. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, my mama who told a story on me. Yes.
Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 27th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, I can ask you a question, sir.
It's as soon as I get to the point where I ask, do you
Oh,
have
I'm
any
sorry.
questions? Okay, so you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, what was your question?
How long I gotta stay in him? That's what I wanted to know.
If you post bond today, you get out today.
But if I don't,
Then you'll have a preliminary hearing date set for June 27th.
okay, I'm calm on auntie.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
All right, you're free to go back.
All right.
Mr. Willis.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing well, Mr. Willis. It looks like you're charged twice with the same.
It was a warrant, and that was a mistake that they told me to make sure when I got in front of you, they written a warrant for my arrest. And when they arrived, there was some new officers who had been there, I guess they told me less than 3 months. So they wrote up what they was coming for the warrant for, and it got listed as 2 charges instead of just a warrant. But they literally was coming to get me to serve the warrant. That's all that was. And she just did the paperwork while we was at the precinct in Riverdale. So you had one officer who actually wrote.
Hold on, stop, Mr. Willis.
Okay.
If you had let me finish, I just said what you just told me.
My apologies, sir.
Okay, so it looks like you were charged twice for the same incident. One on what we call a WA and one on what we call a warrant, which is a CW. I'm going to, for your purposes, Miss Mary, I'm dismissing the WA. I'm going to proceed on the warrant number 2022 CW 52733, charging Mr. Willis with battery on a pregnant person. I'm going to set the bond at $20,000 for that offense. There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond, a stay away from a Tiffany Hartsfield. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, courtroom 201. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, me and my significant other live together, so I'm trying to see like how does that work? And also, I've never, I didn't put my hands on this individual, nor have I ever had any type of violent charge whatsoever. So I'm trying to see like what can we do with that? She's became emotionally distressed and wanted to call the police because she is pregnant, and like we didn't have these type of problems before she got pregnant. Ever since she got pregnant, something doesn't go her way, she immediately goes from 0 to 100. There's no in between, and it's just this time she ended up calling the police. Like, and this is my first child. Never had a child before. Don't have any desire to hurt her, put my arms on her. She's high risk pregnancy, and I literally have to be with her every day under doctor's order. Like, she cannot be alone because of her high risk pregnancy. So is there anything you could do with that stay away order? Like, if she writes an affidavit saying she's not fearful of me or anything like that, she's already tried to bomb me out because she know I did not do anything to her. And this is just one of those situations where she got mad and called the police, and it went left.
Okay, so I'm not going to change the bond amount. I'm not going to change stay away provision. If this is something that she wants to get changed, she can contact the victim witness advocate at the Clayton County Solicitor General's office, and they will look into it and they'll make their own determination. But I got to tell you, if everything you said is true, you may want to wonder whether this is the way you want to live your life.
I am wondering that. This was an individual, we met kind of fairly not too long ago, and she became pregnant, within a short period of time. So it's just, me making bad decisions on that part, and, learning the person who I'm dealing with throughout the pregnancy. So it's like, really don't know you that well, learning who you are, me trying to be a stand-up man and not just leave and, oh, you're pregnant, okay, whatever. This is my first child. I'm trying to be in the light at the doctor's appointments, whatever she needs. I understand when a woman get pregnant, she's gonna be erratic. She's gonna make
Mr. Willis, don't go down that road with me.
I'm just stating.
Don't go down that road with me.
Yes, sir.
The whole women are emotional kind of thing or whatever. Don't go
I'm
down
only
that
saying that
road.
because I know her, but yes, sir.
Don't. You can't imagine how many men are up here crying every day that I see. And nobody says, oh, men are emotional. So people have emotions. People get angry. People are happy. People have to learn how to live within both being happy and sad or angry and still acting like an adult.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
So what's the total?
$20,000.
Is that property available?
It's cash, commercial, or property.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Free to go back. Okay, that completes the calendar unless I missed someone.
No, sir, Your Honor, that was the last bill on the outside.
Okay, thank you. I am going to fill in for Judge Knights tomorrow, so I will see you all.